oh, this one's more John Mayer, this one's more Bob Dylan, I never say John Mayer. I never say that.
Xavier.
Hello, we're here with Ethan Famadou. What's up? How you doing?
What's up? I'm good.
That's good. So tell me a bit about yourself. Like, where'd you come from? What did you do? Yada, yada, yada.
Well, I was born in Maryland.
Okay.
I grew up in Oregon. Finished growing up in upstate New York. Play guitar mainly. I don't like to call myself a singer-songwriter because everyone's a singer-songwriter. So, but yeah, I make music. That's my main thing. I don't do much else.
So going from Maryland to Oregon, then to upstate New York, how did that impact you, one, as a person, but then also as an artist?
That's a hard question. I don't know. I feel like it definitely makes me different in the way people on different coasts, it's slight differences. Mostly everything's the same, but over here people walk faster. They aren't as openly friendly. But musically, it's also different. It's different things in different places. So I don't know. I guess it all is an amalgamation of things.
Okay.
If it makes any sense.
When did you start getting into music? I know you play guitar. Did you start with guitar and then you went into writing and singing and everything, or was it vice versa?
Well, I started playing guitar when I was 9. I originally wanted to play bass, actually.
Okay, cool.
But someone just was like, oh, if you play guitar, you can play bass later. So I started playing guitar and didn't look back.
Someone said that to me the opposite way.
Yeah. well, so I started playing, and my initial thought was okay, music's cool, but as a 9-year-old, I was like, okay, I need something so that girls will like me. So I started playing guitar, and then I fell in love with the music more, right? And then I was playing a couple cover bands, and I was like, okay, how do I actually do this? All my heroes are doing. I'm like, okay, well I need to write songs. So it was kind of in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
And I'd I'd write a couple things here and there, never finish anything. And then I guess I started really writing when it came time to move, when I was moving from Oregon to upstate, because the guy that replaced me in my band was way better than me at guitar, and he wrote all these great songs. And I was like, okay, well he might be better at me guitar, but I can write some better songs than that. So I felt a little competitive. And then I fell in love with the art itself, I guess.
What is it about guitar that you like so much? Now that you've fallen in love with the,
Well, I guess the versatility, I feel like there's a lot of instruments. I won't diss anyone, but but where it's okay, certain instruments okay, you can do one thing. But guitar, you got different kinds of guitars. You got acoustics, you got electrics, and you've got all your pedals and different gear. You can make all sorts of different crazy sounds, and it's just freedom,
Okay. So do you think that because you feel that freedom in playing guitar, you find that freedom in songwriting too?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel all my songs, I can't seem to write anything that's not, non-fiction. It's all truth with a little bit of, secret sauce to spice it up, so it's not boring. So I don't know. I guess it's freedom in the sense where I can express whatever I want to, but I've never been great at telling stories outside of myself.
I like to think that music is a way to another person's soul. So the fact that you are talking about things that have happened to you and the truth of what has happened, that I feel that's something that is one a lot better in the sense of the people who are listening to your music are actually getting you as a person. But then also it means you stay true to yourself too on top of it.
Yeah.
Who are some of your biggest inspirations?
Biggest inspirations? Number one, Bob Dylan. Jimi Hendrix, definitely. I started out not liking him because, you know, being black and growing up in Oregon, they're like, oh, Jimi Hendrix. And I'm like, man, don't compare me to him. I didn't even listen to him at the time. But yeah, Jimi Hendrix. Recently, a band called Blue Ranger. They're from upstate. So I really liked them, like, just initially, like, not even like having listened to them. I was like, okay, they look cool, and they're from upstate, and they're doing it, and it's cool. And then I went and listened to it, and it was great.
Cool.
I mean, a lot of things, but, you know, not everything shows up in my own music, you know.
Yeah.
Like, cause I like funk and soul music, but that kind of goes to Apollo.
Yeah.
And then everything else that doesn't like fit into that is me.
You talked about Apollo. So do you think that within being in like a group or a band, do you think that it challenges you to be a better artist, and do you think that like you take things from that help you with your own art?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Apollo really challenged me to be a better person and not be a dictator. Because, you know, I started out like just writing for myself and arranging the songs all myself. Like I'd play all the instruments.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it was like all my ideas. I'm like, okay, this is how it's gonna be. And then Apollo, I'm like, okay, here's the song, here's how it's gonna go. And they're like, I don't think so. Like, how about we do this and then that and that, and we're like going off in all these directions. And like, I always struggle to like let go.
Yeah.
You know, because I have my original like vision of the song, and then there's the Apollo-ified version, you know. And I'm like, okay, I know it's always gonna end up doing the Apollo-ified thing, but I'm like, oh, what if I, you know, try to like guide them in a different direction and see what happens in that case, which I guess a tug of war creates something unique.
What do you prefer better, the acoustic guitar or the electric guitar?
It's situational. I generally prefer electric live, but when it comes to writing songs, this guitar is just such like a pleasure to play. So I always just end up sitting, you know, for hours and just, you know, strumming stuff out, and you know, ideas just come in that way.
Can you show me like your kind of like process for when you're writing songs like with the guitar?
Yeah. So normally, I'll bring my guitar wherever, you know, to tea, to you know, just general hangout sessions, you know.
Okay.
And I'll just sit there, you know. In the case of this particular song, I did an alternate tuning. I ran into this guy at a show called Will Stratton, and I was like, you use really cool tunings. And he like went in his back room and like wrote them all down for me in a little note. A real sweet guy. And he gave me this tuning. I don't remember what it is, but I was just sitting around playing one day, and I started coming up with this. Right? And I just sit there, play the same thing for like hours until lyrical ideas start coming. Like I feel like I'm just like sitting there marinating, right? So I'm like, I got this part, it's 2 chords, and I figure out the next part. Play it right. And then, you know, most of the time it takes one lyric to really get it going, right? But sometimes you know like what you want to write a song about, sometimes you have no idea. So most of the time it just takes like one like lyric. So it's either like, okay, what's gonna push it in the direction of the topic I want to go to, or just what are words that sound good together, you know? This one's like it's kind of a more cliche line, right? So it goes, heart's skipping beats, tapping 1 and 3. Now I can't help but call, hoping to hear your frightening drawl. I thought my luck was at an end until I sat upon that fence. So on and so forth.
Yeah, so after that, what comes next in your process?
Well, you know, most of the time I'll finish the whole song, you know, just sitting down, just on the guitar, right? Kind of work out how like the energy's gonna flow. Like if it's gonna start like low and like build, or maybe it's gonna start high, go low, and like, you know, be more of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But I'll always end up recording the guitar first, right? Figure out a good tempo, record the guitar, and then it depends. Sometimes it just depends on like what idea I have first. If it's like, oh, I know what the drum part's gonna be, I'll go to the drums. I'll set up drums, and then that'll get done. And then it's like, okay, well, you know, drums gotta have bass, and then I'll play like the bass sometimes, and I'll be like, let me get an actual bass player to do it. So I'll go get my friend Sophie. And then, you know, more guitars, sometimes the synth, like piano.
Yeah.
But other songs, I'll write the song, just guitar and vocals, and then I'll bring it to the band, and then we'll kind of like arrange together. They'll be like, okay, what do you want? What are you like feeling? What type of vibes? They'll say like, oh, this one's more John Mayer, this one's more Bob Dylan, you know. I never say John Mayer. I never say that.
No, but that's cool. So do you think that because of the fact that you already have like a base, it makes it easier for other people to see the vision that you want with the song, and it kind of helps bring the song out better for you? Or?
Yeah, definitely. It's like it always helps to hear like the song first, just an instrument and like a vocal. Then you know like it works by itself, and then you can only, you know, add to it. You can't like take away or diminish it. If the song's good by itself.
So do you think that at any point that you want to dabble in other instruments as much as you have dabbled in guitar?
Yeah. I play a little bit of drums. I play some bass. I play some piano. They're all sources of inspiration. Sometimes, a lot of the time with Apollo, I'll start out with a drum beat, you know, just because that sort of music, you know, it's all about like the groove.
Yeah.
So I just start with the groove. If I start on guitar, I'm gonna end up going or something. I don't know. That's The Joker by Steve Miller. I was making something up. Sometimes it happens like that.
Okay. So do you find yourself like, let's say like you have like a melody or like a beat that you want to do on another instrument, but you don't have the instrument? Do you find yourself like with your guitar sitting there trying to see if you can, what's the word I'm looking for, replicate the melody?
Yeah, kinda. Like I listen to a lot of music where like it's piano based, but it's kind of like a ragtimey kind of janky like style of like piano that I can't play.
Yeah.
So I try to amalgamate that on the guitar.
Cool. Who is, I guess in the future, who is someone that you want to work with?
Someone I want to work with. I don't know about that. Like, sure, it'd be cool to like, you know, play with them really, but I guess it would light a fire under me because I go stand next to them and be like, oh, I inherited them, you know? But I guess there's a lot of people I want to play shows with, just people I enjoy, you know, enjoy their music, and I think it'd be cool to like, you know, hang out, show each other music, but why not doing that in front of people?
That is
that's
true.
A show.
Can you list off a few?
Blue Ranger, Arden Lloyd. I believe she's based in Boston, but I found her music on a QR code sticker in Brooklyn.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Purchase People, Little Cliff, Hudson King, if he ever gets off his ass. That's fine though. I hang out with him every day. Ran into you masquerading, fading in and out. You took my drink, didn't stop to think on the way to your house. You left me in a place I'd never been. And for all that time you stayed inside, and now you don't wanna hide. Sitting in that car, who'd have thought we'd take it so far? And all your drunken talk, we never made it past the parking lot. Why'd we have to wait all this time? Why'd it have to take half a bottle of wine just to talk the way we did that night? To tell you all along what's been eating me inside. You got me cornered, pulled my forward front away from me. You tied my tongue up, now I'm hard up, wondering how to be. Sitting in that car, never thought I'd make it this far. You caught me shaking, now I'm faking, wondering how you are. Why'd we have to wait all this time? Why'd it have to take half a bottle of wine to talk the way we did that night? Just to tell you all along what's been eating me inside. Y'all should have had me warm up before that.
And cut. Great.